Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Santa Clarita In-Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our guest this morning will be Sam Silver of Home for Heroes. And later in the hour, we will be speaking with Rick Ferrante of Home Care Services of Santa Clarita. Good to see you again, Sam.
It's nice to see you.
How are you doing?
I'm excellent. How about yourself?
Good, very good. Have you been busy?
Yes, always busy.
That's good. It's better to
Absolutely.
be busy than idle.
Yes,
Because
I
when
agree.
you're idle, you get into too much mischief. At least I do. Thank goodness I can still get into mischief.
Absolutely. That's a blessing.
Yes, it is. Now, we're celebrating a special day today.
Yes. Today is the anniversary of when our veterans came back from Vietnam in 1973. March 30th, 1973, our wonderful soldiers came back from Vietnam. This is Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day.
So this is over 50 years.
Yes, absolutely.
That's incredible.
It's hard to believe, huh?
Wow. It's really been that long ago?
Yes.
Whoa. A lot has happened since then.
Yes, it has. A lot of good things, and we keep going on, and hopefully our veterans, especially our Vietnam veterans, are welcomed and thanked profusely.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
Unfortunately, back then they weren't.
They weren't.
So I hope that we can all make up for that.
Well, back then it was an undesirable thing to do.
Yes.
Go to war.
Yes.
Especially with Vietnam.
Still is.
Well, that's very true. But I'm talking about all of the negativity that was about
At that time.
at that time.
Right.
Very, very bad. Very bad. Mm-hmm. And yet our veterans, our soldiers, sailors, Marines, Air Force, they all went for a good cause. At least they felt it was a good cause.
Well, some of my friends who went didn't know what the cause was. That was part of the problem. And when our veterans came back from Vietnam, at least, they were not treated appropriately or correct at all.
That's true.
And there was, maybe the dissension came from the divide, Barbara.
Well, could
Maybe
have been.
the varied opinions that were out there at the moment at the time.
They collided.
we were a divided country, and they came back and they had fought there, so they were assumed to be on the other side of the fence. Mm-hmm. So there were people who were saying we shouldn't be there, justify it. They couldn't justify it. And then, my friends went to Vietnam, fought in Vietnam, died in Vietnam, and some of them came back and said, why did some of us die? So they were upset too.
Yeah. Well,
it was a tough war. And, I think that allowed us to think a little bit more about when we're putting our people at harm's way, that we better justify it and not allow people in government to just say, you're going to go. Because some of those government people, it was secondary gain for them. They had stocks and munitions and, in the war. So they were making money off of war.
Yes.
And this is what we found out later. It's not justifiable either.
No,
We
it's
have,
not.
There's a moral spirit that we live by. It's ethical. That we need to make sure that if we're sending our children into harm's way, let's assure that it's the right thing. And typically that is of principle. Mm-hmm. That's what we've always fought for, that principle.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important we continue to adhere to that.
I agree.
Yes, I agree. But that was a long time ago.
It was.
But we learn from history.
Well,
don't
that's
we?
true. That's
we learn
true.
From history.
We do.
And we take
we're
care
still,
of our veterans right now.
Absolutely.
We have to.
Absolutely. Now, it's interesting here. I have a paper in front of me that tells me Proposition 60/90. What are Propositions 60 and 90?
Well, Prop 60 was what it originated as, and it was supposed to stay in like LA County. When somebody 55 plus wants to sell their house and wants to downsize into something smaller, they were able to keep the tax base that they originally had. Now, it changed to Prop 90 when other counties wanted to be involved in being able to offer that to the 55-plus community.
Why did it change to 90 instead of saying it's 60? It's the same proposition.
Probably politics. There's had to be something with politics.
Oh, yes, I guess so.
But Prop 90, it helps people that, we get to a point in our life and, the kids go away and you got this huge house. And a lot of people don't want the huge house anymore. They want to get into something smaller, like a condo or just a smaller house. Mm-hmm. So that way they can lower their cost base,
Okay. But if they move into a smaller house and they were still paying the same tax base for the larger house, that didn't seem fair.
It depends on the price of the house when you bought it.
Oh.
So you got to take a look at, you're buying a house, say you're living in a house for 20 years and you bought it at $160,000 or whatever. Then you take a look at the house you're going to buy later, and the value of that home is going to be a lot more, even if it's a smaller home. So the tax base, you're not required to use this, but if it's advantageous to you to use it, that's why it's there.
Oh, interesting.
Well, and, being political again, my thought is that anybody who's a senior who owns a home, there should be a criteria allowed for them when they hit a certain age, and their income is already fixed, and they can show only a certain amount of money in a bank account, that they shouldn't have to pay a property tax.
I agree with you completely.
And that should not only just apply to seniors in general, but probably at an earlier age, talking about veterans. Mm-hmm. If you are a veteran, I think at some point, and if you're living in your home and you're coming to seniorhood, that it should be considered earlier even. Let's say it's 80, well, maybe 70 for our uniformed veterans. So anyway, these are great. I think this is a move in the right direction. But, maybe we need to reevaluate everything in total, because the worst thing that I think we see happening is a veteran not being able to pay their property tax.
Yes.
And then they're evicted or they get out. Their property is taken over.
And there is actually a veterans exemption on there. If you see,
more detail.
Yeah, there's a little bit more detail. So there is a veterans exemption. A lot of times, veterans are disabled, and they already have an exemption through the government. Like 100% disabled veterans, they have that exemption. It will follow them. So,
and it's in here probably somewhere, but once again, fine print.
Yes.
Sam, this is what we deal with every day, and then trying to dissect through the legalese of what these things are trying to say.
That's true.
And then we have to redefine it so people understand it.
It's true, and that's why I wanted to bring that up to the forefront, because these are some options that maybe a lot of people don't know about, and they're afraid to sell that big house, and they're like, well, what's my tax base going to be? Because that's important.
Absolutely.
Buying and selling a house. I always ask people, when they're going to buy a house, I say, okay, well, this is an area that has Mello-Roos. This is an area that doesn't have Mello-Roos. What are you looking for? What are you comfortable with? And Santa Clarita has a lot of areas that have Mello-Roos.
See, that's double Dutch to me.
Yes.
As it is probably to most people.
Absolutely.
What is Mello-Roos? I mean,
Mello-Roos is how the city takes care of schools and all the paving of roads and the infrastructure. Firefighters, paying the firefighters, paying the police department. That's Mello-Roos. That's what that goes for. The older areas, Santa Clarita, like Old Orchard, a lot of those areas have been paid off or they don't have them anymore. There's parts of Stevenson Ranch that are Mello-Roos is almost all paid off. So it just depends on where you want to move. And that's why you have a professional realtor to help you with that. So if you don't want to pay the Mello-Roos or you want to pay Mello-Roos for a very small period of time, that's our job to understand where it's still going on and where it's gone.
But I see some of the developments advertising no Mello-Roos. Now, how do they, I don't understand roads and schools and parks and upkeep of these. You're going to walk in and you're not going to be paying to keep those up. I mean, when it says no Mello-Roos, are they just trying to mislead us?
In some cases, yes. They're Mello-Roos, and then there's things called special assessments.
So they get you in that.
They could
get you no matter which way.
They could have a special assessment.
Small fine print that we can't
absolutely
quite see anymore without bifocals.
Absolutely, and I have my glasses too. So
now we just had our street re-asphalted. Does that money come out of the Mello-Roos pot?
It depends on what development you're in.
Well, we're in the old Princess Tract.
Okay.
Off Sierra Highway across from Friendly Valley.
Yours is paid off.
Yours is probably paid off by now.
The lower, I'm sure the
old,
lower, older.
Yeah.
Well, I've lived in that house since 1964.
Oh, there you go. The older homes don't have that.
I paid $14,000 for that.
You're very blessed.
Oh, my goodness.
To a certain degree.
Well, it's interesting. We bought the house in 1974. 71. When was that earthquake? 71, wasn't it?
Yes.
February 9th, 1971.
Yes. Well, that house was severely damaged.
Yes.
The people who owned the house at the time, my kids were friends with their kids, and they went ahead and got an SBA loan and fixed the structural, what they were required to fix.
Yes.
They also got a whole bagload of money to fix the stuff that didn't have to really be fixed, but they got it to fix it. So they wanted to buy a new house with this extra money. So they told us, my husband at the time and I, if we give them $1,000, we can move in and take over the loan.
Oh, wow.
And that's what we did. So we essentially paid $1,000 for that house, and it was worth $14,000 at the time.
Wow.
But if you sell it now, you'll get hit with capital gains. Right?
Gold mine. Well, it's paid for now. We aren't selling it anymore.
Yeah, but if you sell it, Sam,
no.
Sam, what happens? What kind of advice do you give our seniors who have a nest egg locked up in their home? Lots of our seniors here have that.
That's true. That's true.
And so if they sell it, then they get zapped with capital gains. Is that not correct?
Married couple is you get a $500,000 exemption.
That's right.
And a single couple is $250,000 exemption.
Okay, so let's say your house is worth $750,000. So your jeopardy is $250,000.
But there's ways. I'm not a tax person, but there are ways to take that money and put it elsewhere. I have a lot of affiliates that I deal with that actually have programs set up for that to protect that money.
Like legally?
Yes, legally, absolutely.
With
the tax shelters.
Okay.
Things
so
to protect it.
So people have to really
have to call me.
Have to call you and make sure to get appropriately directed. Sam,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. They have to call me. I have all the sources. I have affiliate sources for everything. So they need anything, they can call me. I'll be happy to help them with anything, even if it's just a question about real estate. Just what do I do with this? Even if it doesn't do anything for my business, if somebody has any questions, I'm there for them. Because a lot of times it's a question that I can help them with that can help them get in a better position to maybe later on that they'll call me back and say, okay, well, you helped me with this. I need help with my house now.
Yeah. Well, we're all surrounded by taxes and looking at our taxes. And of course, we have an obligation to pay taxes. But
Yes.
the sad part is that sometimes it's just seems a little bit unfair on how they divvy it out.
That's true.
And so that's why we're trying to find not the loopholes, but the legal ways of assuring that, especially if you buy your house for $1,000 or $14,000, and now it's, let's say, worth $500,000. You want to be able to preserve that for your children and your grandchildren. You want to be able to still have that, and for some reason, the government not only taxes you, but they also seem to come after you in other ways of putting liens on your home.
That's true.
So this constantly is happening in our community, and many a times it's happening to our seniors. It's not.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. It's just same way we've treated the Vietnam veterans coming back from war. Mm-hmm. Now we're treating some of them who are, seniors in just a different way. It's kind of a, what is it? What's the right word? Double hit, double jeopardy, or something like that?
Something like that. Well, it's there are so many people who prey on seniors also.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
On their ignorance.
Yes.
That's true.
And, this show is an attempt, Sam, to try to get people like you on to say, hey, there are ways to get around this to make sure that they're not ripped off.
Absolutely. And that's why you have, of course, your tax people have ways to do things too. Mm-hmm. They understand all the laws and the regulations that are implemented in what they have to use to protect them.
And our tax man is constantly going back to school, so to speak, because so many new rules and regulations come up that they have to be apprised of if they're going to be able to take good care of their clients on a tax basis.
Yes, and we're always going to school. Us realtors are always going to school as well to keep
sure
up on what's the latest thing to help people in different demographics, whether it be seniors or first-time home buyers or veterans, police, fire, whatever position they're in. We have to know what the programs are out there, because the programs are always changing. The loan programs are always changing too.
Yeah.
As time changes,
and
those change.
It gets so complicated because you're putting layers and layers and layers on top of things, and you have to know the first layer and the last layer and everything in between.
Yes, that's.
And as the brain gets older, some of those layers seem to fall down.
Not get through, not calculate, not get into the network, not find a synapse.
I'm finding that to be the case.
And that's why a lot of times we're advisors in a lot of cases. We advise on what the rules are and how it affects the senior population and other populations. So
wow.
We're more than just real estate agents. We do a lot more, and a lot of people don't realize what we actually do behind the scenes to keep up and protect our clients.
Well, how can our seniors and listening audience get in touch with you if they need advice on this Propositions 60 and 90, or for whatever real estate problems or situations they may find themselves in?
They can call me at 661-434-5855. And that number actually is actually a custom number, 661-HFH-5855. HFH is Home for Heroes.
I hate it when they...
That's why I gave you the number first.
Yes, I'm glad you did, because I would have said, what?
What is that number?
So 434-5855.
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty easy.
Yes. And
Well,
I'm happy to help them. And I'm also going to be showing up at the Home and Garden Show. So if they want to just come and meet me and ask questions, I'm going to be there for 2 days on, the 17th and the 18th, Justin? 17th and 18th?
Something like that. Yeah.
From 10 to 5, both days I'll be there.
So home and garden, but you'll be sorting out the layers of life that have been presented to all our seniors.
Absolutely,
Right.
and I'll be giving away a basket of goodies. So come on by, see me, put your name in the basket, and maybe you'll win it.
That sounds wonderful. Well, Sam Silver, thanks for coming.
Appreciate your being
We
on the show.
enjoyed
Again,
it. That's
giving
very,
great information.
Yeah, very valuable information.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having
again,
me.
and we'll see you the next time.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.